Hello, my name is Kate and I'm gonna tell you about the monster who has the best costume for Halloween in D&D. Doppelgangers, also known as Shallar, were monstrous humanoids famous for their shapeshifting abilities that allow them to mimic almost any humanoid creature they saw. Their origins are traced back to Greyhawk, where they appeared for the first time, but they can be found in any edition of D&D, computer games and card games as well. And to help better understand the creatures, what they do, how and where they live, I've invited our special operative to do some research and tell us everything about those creatures. Right from the streets of Arabelle, Ekaterina the Explorer. Ekaterina, can you hear us?
Hello, Kate. Yes, thank you. I can hear you pretty well. I'm indeed in the Arabelle city, not a very usual place for my report. But I plan to stay here a little bit longer given my previous incident with the basilisk.
Well, I hope you can tell us more about these creatures and not to get in trouble this time.
Absolutely. I'm standing in the front of High Moon Inn, one of many in the Arabelle city. Doppelgangers are fascinating, intelligent monstrosities who roam among humans. Being naturally lazy, doppelgangers tend to replace wealthy, successful individuals, capturing them and replacing their identity, afterwards killing the victim. I've spent many weeks tracking one of their kin down. Using my excellent negotiation skills, I invited it to a short interview. In return, I promised not to disclose and reveal his identity to the public. Let's go to the tavern and meet our guest. Doppelgangers have human appearance. The initial height of the creature is around 5 feet, but when they change appearance, they can modify their physical parameters. In their initial true form, they are hairless creatures with grey toned skin. Though they might look like humanoid and have the same set of organs, their brain structure, or more precisely the chemical processes in it, are different. Presumably of this, the creature is of true nature alignment, with rare variations shifts towards lawful or chaotic behavior. The processes also allow creature to be immune to any charm effects. We are now in the tavern room, and I would like to introduce you to my interviewee today, Jerry Changeson. I've shared project image scrolls with our guest, so we see exact illusionary image. Hello, Jerry.
Hello.
Jerry has agreed to answer some of our questions about doppelgangers. Can you introduce yourself and tell us more about your kin?
My name is Jerry, I'm in my 40s. I was born and raised in a known village in Cornwall along with my human mother. Yet, you know, when doppelgangers meet each other to reproduce, after the night, the father leaves to buy a smoking pipe. That's what you humans used to say. I grew as a human, not knowing about my abilities until adulthood, when changes started to appear and I became aware of who I am.
And did you tell your mother about it?
No, of course not. I think she still thinks that I'm in search of my father. Poor thing.
Some say that you're an artificial beings created by wizards and your bodies were made from clay. Is it true? I tend to believe that some wizards has tampered with magic that should not be touched, and that is why how you got your abilities.
Well, we believe that gods made us that way. It's a blessing and we were chosen to be superior. Humans are merely cattle that we use for our advantage.
Right. So tell us about your transformation skills a little bit more. I've heard that you may shift into any humanoid you are able to see. What else is possible?
That's absolutely correct. Only to those I see. I always carry with me 2 pictures of the person I am now and one of the man.
One man I have killed earlier to take his identity for myself. It helps me to escape the unwanted attention when I don't need it.
But I prefer my current skin. The transformation is almost instant. My skin replicates the clothing and other things of the victim, yet it is not real equipment that you can sell after. When I dispose of the person I'm copying, I always change into their undressed form and put on his or her real clothes to have a perfect resemblance. If I would change into you, I wouldn't be able to take my hat because it's part of me. But if I kill you, that would be a different story.
And do you usually kill your victims?
Not always, but as one wise man said, there are two types of crime. The one you get away with, and the other one with witnesses.
I've heard that while assuming the form of a humanoid, you assume personality of the victim as well. Is it true?
You might have heard of a mirror kin or greater doppelgangers. Only they have the ability to completely steal the personality of the creature they impersonate. They don't know how much effort it takes to learn the language, manners, and memories of one person. We doppelgangers usually research our prey before preparing a perfect ambush. It may take me a week or months before I decide to set a perfect trap. Of course, if you already wear a well-known skin, it's easier to choose the next target. For young doppelgangers, it's very important to find the finest first. Though, we do use our ability to detect and read thoughts of creatures around us in 60 feet radius, it still requires a lot of practice and talent to perform your new role.
Similar to art, I suppose.
Indeed.
In the beginning of the interview, you mentioned that you were solely raised by a mother. Can you tell us more about your society of your kind? What drives it?
That's correct. Our kin tend to be alone, as it draws less attention to our personas. Yet, when we see that and
it appears that the spell time ran off. I supplied Jerry with lots of scrolls, so don't worry. But let's stop for a quick technical pause. Over to you, Kate.
Thank you, Ekaterina. And while we're waiting for our reporter to get back, let me tell you a bit of facts on doppelgangers myself. While doppelgangers prefer to live alone, there were several notable groups of them in the world. One of these groups was called the Unseen, which operated in Waterdeep. Another notable cluster of creatures resided within an organization called the Iron Throne, an organization in Baldur's Gate who used doppelgangers quite frequently for its plans to control nobles and factions. In addition, you meet and fight doppelgangers and greater doppelgangers in Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gate games across your playthrough. In the second edition of D&D, a new type of doppelganger was presented, an ethereal doppelganger. They travel across planes in search of powerful magical artifacts, which they store in their lairs on ethereal plane. Oh, Ekaterina, you're back!
Hello, Kate. Yes, our guest reappeared, and we are ready to continue.
Fine, go on.
Jerry, thank you for coming back, though it took you a while.
I wasted 5 scrolls until I managed to get a good intelligence check roll to cast one. Anyway, where was I dropped?
We were discussing the social aspects of your kin.
Yes. Well, when your life is at stake, we would cluster in small groups for successful ambushes and replacements. Some stay in those groups for longer. You may have heard of the organization called the Unseen. The problem is that our kin can reproduce only in humanoid form with one another. As I mentioned before, after the affair, the doppelganger who wears a male skin usually leaves. A female skin type has to raise children alone, while wear a woman's skin now. Well, that helps me with my research on my final target.
Are there cases of doppelgangers mating with ordinary humanoids?
Of course. I knew a couple of those. Some form strong bonds with partners, others just use the family as the cover. The children get to know their own powers on their maturity. I remember that day for myself. I started to feel as I am a different being. My humanoid mother didn't know of my father's origin. After a while, I left my hometown. An urge was born inside me that day to find folk alike me, and when I found those, we ambushed a caravan in a group and replaced it. It was my first skin.
And what do you do for a living now?
Nothing, of course. I've taken everything from that wealthy noble. Her house, her riches, her family. I would bath in gold until it runs out.
And then?
I'll find another rich skin, of course. Yet some of us, those who I know, sometimes take up some work in places which require delicate and subtle methods.
The assassins, you mean?
Indeed.
Do you know Bonnie?
Bonnie Waterdeep, of course. Everybody knows her, the barmaid of Yawning Portal. It's not my business, but there are so many rich fools in Waterdeep. Being a barmaid doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. I presume we're running out of time until new spell wears off. May I ask you the last question? Any advice you can give our adventurers?
Of course. Do not go through the which also use only.
The spell wore off. Well, I think we would never know. But anyway, we thank Jerry for the interview. Kate?
That was a very fruitful discussion. Ekaterina, before we finish, could you please share with us any insights on doppelgangers that our friend might have missed?
Gladly, gladly. I just walked out of the tavern. So, the ability of reading minds cannot penetrate solid surfaces such as stone, metal, wood or dirt. So, if the person leaves to another room, the creature becomes helpless. Moonbeam is particularly effective against all shape changers in combat. It reveals their true identity if the creature fails to defend itself against radiant light. Doppelgangers are master shape changers, but even them have their own limitations. If your Goliath friend suddenly became too short, you better check on him. It's getting late, so I better find a good cheap place to stay overnight until I move further. So therefore, I pass the final word to you, Kate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ekaterina. And while we leave our reporter to explore the city on her own, let's see if doppelgangers are strong characters. From the lore perspective, it is an unseen threat caused paranoid adventurers and city dwellers, intelligent cunning creatures who are ready to ambush. From the technical perspective, it is a monstrosity of challenge rating 3 with 52 hit points, dark vision and immunity to charm effects. It also has quite deadly ambush bonuses, so it could be problematic for low-level party. And now, a bit of DM tips on how to play it. You can replace a party member with a doppelganger who would ambush the party in the most unexpected moment. It's like a mimic, but it walks and talks. Use their neutrality to introduce them as a semi-helping NPC in your campaign. Doppelgangers can be used as a decoy clone of a main antagonist in your campaign. Who said doppelgangers must kill the person they replicate? And that's all on doppelgangers, perfect shapeshifters causing paranoia around them. And if you like the lore and would like to support me and Fire Union Geographics, please press like and subscribe button and tell me in the comments below who else you would like to hear about. And see you next time.